Forrest Pizzeria. Now, the data that was given to us in the case was this data, and there's a couple of things to be aware of. One, unless you're reading carefully, you might miss the fact that some things are made with pizza dough and some things are made with bread dough. So that was one little trick that we slipped in there for you. And another one is that, again, we have the issue of we have the amount of demand, how much is normally ordered of these things, so you probably don't want to produce more than the demand. And we have an issue of the capacity. How much of the raw ingredients that you're going to use do we have? So the question is, what combination of orders should Herman make in order to maximize revenue? So what I did, the first thing I did is I set up my decisions in the same order, in the same orientation as I set up my chart. In this case, you have to set up the chart yourself. And I also set up my capacities to be right under the columns that they referred to. And of course, I set up my demands at the end of the rows that they belong to. Then my usage is set up by using sum product again. So I did a sum product between my decisions and the amount of each item that was used. And that looks pretty much the same all the way across. And my revenue is figured out by doing a sum product between my decisions and the price of the pizzas. So what I'm going to want to do in Solver is maximize my revenue. So when we take a look at this, we can see that I've set my objective to be the revenue. It's being set to max. The cells that I'm changing are my decisions, B9 through B11. And I'm setting them up so that B9 is less than or equal to H2, and B10 is less than or equal to H3, and B11 is less than or equal to H4, so that I don't exceed the demand when I'm making these ingredients. I also set my, as you can see here, I set my decisions to all be integers. My decisions were all set to be greater than or equal to 0. And then finally, these last 4 lines are me going through for the ingredients and setting each ingredient to be less than or equal to its capacity. But actually I made a mistake because there's 5 ingredients and there's only 4 entries. So I said C7 through F7. I didn't do one for pepperoni slices, so let me add that now. My pepperoni slices usage has to be less than or equal to my pepperoni slices capacity. And so now I have a complete set of parameters. And let's go ahead and try and solve that. See what it comes up with. It thinks it's the answer. Solver on Mac operates unreliably, so keep in mind that I'm never going to give you grief about what solution you came up with. What is important is that you had the model right and that you had the constraints in Solver set up properly. Evolutionary is the one that I like to use. It's the most complete, but it can take a long time to operate. So this ends Forrest Pizzeria.